Growing up black in the South, silence felt like a fact of life. Our stories, our struggles, our very existence seemed inconvenient to those in power. They'd rather we didn't speak up, didn't rock the boat. But silence isn't golden. It's the sound of rights being eroded, of voices being stifled. Censorship, that's what they call it when they try to shut you up, to control the narrative. But we've always known it's just another word for oppression. It ain't just about silencing dissent, though that's a big part of it. It's about controlling the message, shaping the story to fit their agenda. They censor our history, our pain, our triumphs. They tell us to forget, to move on, as if centuries of struggle could be erased with a snap of their fingers. But we remember, we resist. We raise our voices even when they try to drown us out. The fight for free speech, for the right to assemble, to protest, it's personal for folks like me. We've seen firsthand what happens when those rights are trampled on. We've felt the sting of injustice, the weight of silence. That's why we can't afford to stay quiet. We have to speak truth to power, to fight for our right to be heard, to demand a seat at the table. Our voices matter. Our stories deserve to be told. We will not be silenced. Remember the Black Lives Matter protests? The streets were flooded with people demanding justice, demanding change. But what did the powers that be do? They tried to shut it down. They called us thugs, criminals, unpatriotic. They used tear gas, rubber bullets, and mass arrests to silence our cries for equality. That's censorship in action, folks. They'll tell you it's about maintaining order, protecting property. But we know the truth. They're scared of our collective power, of our voices united in dissent. They know that when we speak out, when we organize, we become a force to be reckoned with, and that terrifies them. Think about it. When a government can control what you see, what you hear, what you're allowed to say, they control your reality. They can rewrite history, justify oppression, and silence any opposition. That's not democracy. That's tyranny. And it ain't just governments either. Big tech, with their algorithms and shadow banning, they're in on it too. They control what you see online, what information reaches you. They silence dissenting voices, bury inconvenient truths, all in the name of profit and control. The consequences of censorship are far-reaching and devastating. When we allow the silencing of dissent, we erode the very foundations of a free and just society. It starts with a whisper, a murmur of discontent being stifled, but it quickly escalates. Without the freedom to express ourselves, to challenge the status quo, we become passive participants in our own oppression. We lose the ability to hold our leaders accountable, to demand better, to fight for a more just and equitable world. History has shown us time and time again that a society that silences its critics is a society on the brink of collapse. From the fall of the Roman Empire to the rise of totalitarian regimes, censorship has always been a harbinger of darker days to come. We must learn from the mistakes of the past and resist any attempts to silence dissent. The fight for free speech, for the right to assemble and protest, is a battle we must all be willing to wage. It's a fight for the soul of our democracy, for the future of our society. But how do we fight back against this insidious force that seeks to silence us? We speak up. We raise our voices in unison, amplifying the voices of the marginalized and the oppressed. We call out censorship wherever we see it, whether it's in our schools, our media, or our government. We support organizations like the ACLU and the Electronic Frontier Foundation that are on the front lines of this battle, fighting for our right to free expression in the courts and in the streets. And most importantly, we never stop questioning, never stop challenging the status quo. We must remain vigilant in our defense of free speech, for it is the cornerstone of a just and equitable society. Our voices matter. Our stories deserve to be told. We will not be silenced.